Oh my gosh, this is awesome. Emily Engel, BX Custom Sewn. Absolutely love what you're doing. Amazing stuff, really cool. And it's those little guys sitting next to you.
Yep, these are the only ones I currently have in my possession at this point. All of the other ones that I make are immediately rushed out the door. I think people assume I have a gigantic room that's just filled with Muppets, and that's so not the case. Very rarely.
Kind of scary to walk into, actually. If you're to walk into a room and all these Muppets are looking back at you, that would kind of freak me out a bit.
You know, that's happened. It's happened more than once. I've had a few bald beakers sitting on my couch waiting for hair. Like I'd go to bed because it's just too late for me to finish, and I'd come in the morning without my glasses on, can't see, and there's just bald beakers staring at me. I've gotten frightened a few times.
I would imagine. So, okay, the first question I have to ask, because I got a whole lot of questions here, but the first one I have to ask is copyright infringements.
I'm just gonna leave. Yeah, it's my favorite question. I love that question.
I would imagine you get that quite a bit.
Not as often as you think. I always try to answer this as if I were a politician. You know, I'm not here to take money from anybody. I'm not here to own any kind of industry. And the Jim Henson Company is not what it was in the early 90s. It unfortunately split into an octopus of different companies when the magical Jim Henson passed away. Little bits and pieces are owned by different companies. Sesame Street is his own company. The Muppets are their own company. Henson is his own company. HBO is in there. Time Warner is in there, et cetera, et cetera. It is very split. And that's something a lot of people don't know. It is no longer under the Jim Henson umbrella. What I do is make the secondary characters. I will never make Kermit, Piggy, Fozzie, Gonzo, or Rolf, ever. Those are the lead characters. You can hop on Amazon and find one of their plushes for 20 bucks and have a nice day. And that is totally legal because Disney owns that. I will never replicate those. They aren't my bag. What I do is I offer the things that have not been made in plush form. They are also not puppets. I walk a really tight line here. Yes, I have looked into licensing. I have looked into all of these things. It is not offered. Also, I have been doing this for over a decade, and only once have I ever run into a problem, and it was not with Disney. It was with Sesame Workshop, owned by HBO, owned by Time Warner. They're the only ones that have given me a little knock on the door saying, hey, what are you doing? Got worked out. I think at the end of the day, I'm good advertising.
I would think.
And I really don't, maybe I'm going out on a limb here. I don't think I'm putting a dent in Disney's $65 billion a year salary.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, if they end up destitute, they can blame me. But I think I am just a tiny grain of sand on the Disney beach, and they're not really going to bother with me.
Yeah, I'm always fascinated seeing artists who are inspired by Disney and some of these other properties and Warner Brothers and all of that, and the art they create that's inspired by it. A lot of times they get very close to that line, but at the end, I think you're right. It helps promote what they're doing. And at the end of the day, it's not taking money out of their pocket because they're not selling any of these that you produce.
No, and that's again why I stay away from any of the main characters. I won't touch them. That's theirs. They mass produce them. It's also, as far as I'm concerned, I am honoring the legacy of Jim Henson. I am not honoring Disney. I am not honoring anything else. Just because they own a piece of paper that says they have the rights to them doesn't mean that they are the originators. That they came up with these concepts. I do this out of total admiration for Jim Henson's genius. That's the most pure part of it for me. And I think the people who follow like my Twitter and my Instagram, my social media, they get that I make them the old school way. I don't dress them up in anything in years in 2022 fashion. I always go for the old school look of them. And I like to stay there. And I like to create secondary characters that are not always on screen, because I think those are the most beloved in a lot of ways. Everything I do is in total homage to the originators, and I try to stay there.
Well, you're doing great. I mean, I looked at all the images, and you are spot on with what you have created. How many different characters do you have?
I want to say that must have made close to 25 by now. I mean, every day someone comes at me with a suggestion, or they love the deep cuts, and I love doing the deep cuts. I think those are the greatest. Like, people will come up with things that they saw for 30 seconds on an episode of Sesame Street from 1985, and they have to have this one character. Like, that kind of stuff I love doing. It is a challenge, and it's important to that person. And occasionally you'll get the other people in there that are like, oh my God, I love that 30 seconds of character too. That happened recently with a couple characters from Sesame Street, the Miami Mice. Someone had ordered them. There was like, I don't know, maybe 3 episodes that they were on, poking fun at Miami Vice. Right. And just mice with real 80s hair, and the ice cream colored shirt and the open collars. And that was really fun. A few people did recognize that and go, oh my God, I remember those 3 episodes that they were on. Those are the most fun. Those are the most interesting. And no, you're not going to be, the plush versions of those don't exist.
Yeah.
And now they do.
Man, that's awesome. So Mr. Snuffleupagus, is he a main character, or is he?
Me and Sesame Workshop are not friends right now.
Oh man, that's a bummer.
I actually, I can show you a quick example. The reason we're not friends is because I made this. Oh. I also made the yellow guy, who's a friend of his. Okay. And also the guy that lives in the trash can. I made pillow versions of them, who shall remain nameless. Sesame Street didn't really like that too much, and they narked me out to Etsy, who got upset with me. So they are now secret items.
Gotcha. Well, the guys next to you, those, I love them. Animal, I saw Animal. That is absolutely incredible.
Yes, Animal is a favorite. He's really fun to make. My couch ends up turning absolute pink with fur after I'm done making him. He is the patron saint of drummers. I'll put it that way.
And Geico commercials, apparently.
That too. I've only seen it once. It was very cute, though. I really liked it.
Yeah, it was cute. So what got you into this? I mean, this is a pretty unique and one-off kind of situation. It's awesome.
It certainly is. I
mean, when they say find your niche, you found like the niche of a niche of a niche.
That is remarkably close to what I do. Yes. I wish I had some fabulous, grandiose story. I started making them in 2010, 2011, something like that. It's been about 10 years. A friend of mine via social media was seeing that I had just started to replicate things into plush. And I was sort of honing in on the skill that I had, that all I really needed was a picture. And then somehow my hands start doing things, and then these things happen, just visual. I don't use patterns. I don't have guidelines. I don't have anything like that. It's show me a picture, I can make it in plush form. So I started honing in on that. And he asked me, have you ever done a Muppet? And I said, no, I have not. And he said, please try your hand at Dr. Teeth. And I said, sure, what the hell? Dr. Teeth came to life. And for a first time Muppet, like, I'll look back at those pictures from 10 years ago, and Dr. Teeth has always stayed pretty consistent for me. I like to think he's gotten better and way more detailed, but he was the first that I did, and that sort of kicked it off. And then
Now,
I kept saying, okay,
are you still freestyling, or do you have patterns now for these guys?
where would I get patterns? I mean, those are pretty locked up tight. I would think at this point.
Well, I would figure when you made one that you would use that, you'd replicate, or that is amazing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but you can say that about really any talent. I know people look at this and go, oh my God, how do you do that? But you can say that about music. You could say that about art. You could, I mean, when you have this talent that you hone in on, it becomes totally mental, and it's just there. It's stored. It's the same thing with me. It's just up there. It's stored. Yes, it's an inherent talent.
That is your superpower for sure.
I suppose so. Yes.
So in 10 years, how many of these little guys have you made? I mean, that's wow.
I wish I knew. I would have to say several hundred at this point. I mean, this past holiday, oh Lord, did I work hard. A bunch of my holiday orders, people wanted the entire Electric Mayhem band, and that's either 5 or 6
Ooh.
characters. That, I mean, people ordered the whole thing all at once. I ended up making,
Wow,
I think 40 or 50 in the month of December alone. It was a lot of work. A lot of work. Yeah, several hundred, I'd say at this point.
that is amazing.
Well, you need to make one for Jeff that is the Dr. Teeth, but he needs a fez on. So I think can you do that? Can we change the pimp hat to a fez hat?
I can do anything. I've done a lot of variations of Dr. Teeth. I had one of him with an accordion at one point. I've dressed them up in all sorts of different outfits. My clients come up with some amazingly creative ideas for what they want. I always listen to what it is they want. So if they want a Muppet that's wearing something specific or holding something specific, I try to make that happen. So yeah, I mean, sky's the limit with this stuff. I love hearing other people's ideas.
Yeah,
well, Jeff, you need one with a Hawaiian shirt that says Tiki Trail and a fez on it.
There we go. Well, I'll look forward to you ordering one of those up for me, Carmen.
Yes, I want to do the old guy next to her right there, because that's what I look like. So you have to look at me all the time. Just put a beard on it.
Yeah, I mean, these are so realistic. I was halfway expecting the old guy to start heckling me as we were talking in the interview.
I mean, his partner hasn't been made yet. I haven't had time, unfortunately. I retired these two, you know, irony them being old and everything. I was making them for a while, and I sold several sets, and then I just sort of stopped. I almost got bored with them in a way, because they're human. Like, they weren't that interesting visually to me, so it became sort of monotonous. But since it's been a minute, and now I've got creative control over them, I will absolutely end up making his buddy again and throwing them out there for the public. Actually, just so everybody knows, this guy was made last night. I wanted to have somebody new with me for this, so I slapped Pepe together. Posted him, I think this morning / last night. He's currently making his rounds around Twitter right now. But he was one that's been requested over and over and over. Question mark about how I can get it into the hands of others, because Disney hovers around here. because he's become a major character, which is interesting. He was the star of their last the Muppets Haunted Mansion, which came out in October. He was the main guy. So as of right now, he's just gonna hang out here with me.
Oh, that is too bad. Sounds like I need to make a trip to Massachusetts and
No, it's 19 degrees here, just so you know.
well, I'm in Indiana, so it's not much different for me. So that is, what would you say is the most requested one? Is it Dr. Teeth? Who would be the most requested? Really?
And I ended up having to do a pre-order thing for him. I did that back in December. I only took a certain amount just to start off with. That was a very quick line that filled up. He's my favorite. And this one's not going anywhere. This one's going to be with me forever. This is the first Sweetums that I made. And as soon as people saw him, they said, yep, that one, that's the one. He's never existed in plush form ever. I think they used to have like little statues of him or little action figures, but other than that, I want to say I made the first plush version of him. I could be totally wrong,
Nice.
but I will take that credit.
Well, absolutely incredible. We've got your information in the chat, and I know people can order right there from the website. I'm blown away. I mean, I'm always fascinated if people can mold clay or paint. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
an image in my head,
I just like to mention those mugs, the zombie mugs are incredible. I had messaged her on Instagram when I saw her work was being posted. I was blown away by it. Like that, those are beautiful. And
aren't they?
I cannot draw to save my life. Like, do not put a paintbrush anywhere near me because it would be a disaster. Just that's not that kind of art. Absolutely is beautiful. Nothing I could ever do. So total respect for that. Total respect for all the different art forms. Like, forget, you wouldn't want me to hold an instrument either. Trust me. That's just out of my scope. Totally. So
yeah, that's why I was a DJ on the radio instead of, I played music that were 12-inch records, not, the instruments themselves. So I understand that. But your talent is definitely top notch, and love all those little guys. And yeah.
I want to interrupt. I'm going to be another one. What about doing Punchy that's right there by Jeff? Can you do something like that? I think I might have to buy
who
one.
owns the copyright?
Nobody. Jeff drew that up. That's a picture he drew himself.
Who's this guy? Yeah, that's I don't know on that one. That would be pretty funny though. But
I love doing like any kind of stuff like that. I mean, I absolutely could replicate that. I mean, you show me a picture, I can make it happen. But Muppets just happen to be the thing that everyone seems to love right now. So I'm going with it.
That is absolutely just like I said, blown away. You're taking all these pieces of fabric and you're just piecing them all together, and that's incredible.
And my mind isn't there when it's happening usually. Like I'm thinking about doing laundry, or I'm watching gory true crime shows on Netflix, or like it just, things happen in here. I don't know.
Well, keep it up. Keep doing that, because this is some killer art that you've got going on.
Thank you.
So very much appreciate you coming on. Go out to the website, follow her on Instagram. You can see all the different Muppets. Absolutely amazing. So good stuff. All right. Thank you very much, Emily.
Thanks for having me.